And just as an experiment, I made this animation channel, literally did not promote it or anything, nothing, right? By my 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, my 5th video, I got a video with 52,000 views. If I wanted to, I know I could grow this into a 100,000 subscriber channel. What's the explanation, right? I mean, you can't call it luck at that point. Yeah, and so anyway, I don't know if I'll ever do anything with this channel, but it serves as evidence that it's not luck. I know what the fuck I'm doing. But the reason why I was able to do this is because I believed I can do it. Why? Because I've done it so many times already. You must first believe that you can get it done. If you don't, you won't get it done. You know what I'm saying? How many of you would love to make a YouTube channel by your 5th video getting 50,000 views with no shout outs, no collaborations? You didn't even make a TikTok. How many of you would love to be able to do that? To me, that's effort. It's the same with wealthy people, how they look at money. They could lose all their money and be a millionaire again by the end of the month because they just believe. And so reality proves it to them. Now, earlier today, we reacted to a video. Go check it out after this video, talking about a body positivity creator who has had her entire community, for the most part, turn on her. And I feel like this video is in the same realm, same theme almost, but now we're talking about men. And so this video is titled How Self-Help is Radicalizing Young Men. Title, or the creator, is Jimmy the Giant. And this is someone I've discovered recently. Let's check him out.
Go to the gym, ice bath, grow a beard, shave the beard off, bitcoins, meditate. My brothers, I have been there, I have done that, and I even got the Manscaped shirt. I've listened to the podcast, I've done the side hustles, the monk mode. And look, wow, I made it. Look at, wow. And I'll be honest, after this whole journey, I have come to the realization that it was kind of a bit of a scam. But bear with me, because today I will tell the full picture, the full story of self-improvement, self-help, the good, the bad, and the ugly. And let's discuss the harsh reality of self-improvement.
It's so easy to be great nowadays, my friend, because most people are
that
weak.
does sound counterintuitive up front, right? The negative side of self-improvement. What could be bad about making yourself better? Let's let Jimmy elaborate.
People don't want to go to that extra mile. Most people don't want to find that extra because it sucks. It's miserable. It's lonely.
When I was a young blood tearing up the playground, I wasn't like the super cool popular kid, but I wasn't the real nerdy dweeby kid. I was somewhere in between, almost as if there was a potential TV show you could make about it. The in-betweenies.
I think that's most people. Most people are in the middle somewhere.
These interests as a kid. I was like playing guitar, doing Lego, playing games on Miniclip. But one day, my voice broke, and all I could think about was women, girls, female women. And in amongst my nerdy tendencies, I one day stumbled across the world of online dating advice.
Really?
Oh boy.
You're adorable.
Huh?
You are cute.
Oh.
Who are you? Okay.
In the mid-2010s, I unwittingly entered the world of self-improvement. It wasn't really called that back then, but it was really trying to tell you one thing, and that is that you need to be confident. Wow, look how straight that man's spine is. The posture of a Greek god. So proud is he in the way he walks. His voice bounces off the walls of heaven directly into your ears. That man there is
gorilla walk right there.
Oh yes, I am. And you see, with confidence, there comes women. Women love confidence. Or at least that was what this panel of men were telling their 100% male audience with complete and utter confidence.
I think everybody loves confidence. No one will ever believe in you if you do not first believe in yourself. And so if you don't think you're an attractive person who is deserving or worthy of a certain female, why would she believe that you are worthy of her if you don't even believe it? The real problem arises, though, when we talk about how somebody gets to that place of confidence. Let's go.
And you see, like, this very early era of online dating advice was really just putting across a pretty simple and kind of nice message that you should just be yourself, but be confident in who you are. Didn't really matter if you were like a manly man or a bit of a soft boy.
I do believe in the looks don't matter, because I am fucking testament to it, right?
I was like, hey, do looks matter? Do looks matter? What about money? I'm only 5'6". Can I get girls? There's only one thing that matters. Do you have balls?
But you see, my friends, whilst this message of self-love was being spread around the internet, at the same time there was a quieter but slightly darker, more fundamentalist attitude spreading around.
I would say looks matter as much as you believe that it matters. Here's the thing, but you also have to believe that you can get the girl you want. So you might be telling yourself looks don't matter, but deep down, you also don't believe you can get the girl you want. If you believe in both at the same time, well, that will be your reality.
Around the dark corners of the internet.
If he doesn't assert masculine dominance over you to some degree where he becomes a leader,
That's how you get the fat, ugly nigga with the baddie. That dude, he really doesn't believe his looks matter, and he really believes he can get that girl. It's just very rare that you can find a dude like that. Usually he has something else going on for him at the same time. So he's getting his swagger, his belief from somewhere. Now, the best place to get it is internally, but that oftentimes is not what happens. Usually people look to other successes in their life, and that's where they draw their confidence from. And so there could be that, but there's some dudes who really get it and who really got it like that. And so to them, it doesn't really matter what their situation is. They just really believe they're him. And so that's what they experience.
Provider and a protector, you're going to look otherwise for another man.
Conduct yourself like a gentleman, be rich, be tall, be funny, and you're good.
People are pretending it's not normal. It's not normal for a man to want more than one girl. Absolutely is normal. It's absolutely normal for men to have more than one woman. This is how we are. We're mammals like everything else. If you look at a lion's pride.
RSD, or Real Social Dynamics. They were like this sort of, the bad boys of online dating advice. They were kind of a bit edgier, right? Now, yeah, they were talking about confidence and that confidence was very important, but confidence to them meant something a little bit different.
The process is step one, open all. As soon as something comes within my line of sight, bang, I open it. I do this because I know that my reticular activation system is going to find every single excuse in the book, like a Nobel Prize-winning scientist, of finding excuses why this girl should not be approached. She's too hot, she's not hot enough, even though you could have just chatted or gained a little social momentum.
These guys, they were really odd, right? They would dress in weird ways.
Yeah, this is a crazy fit. This is a crazy fit.
Show how much they didn't give a shit about what people thought about them.
Okay, so that was intentional. Got it.
What they were doing, and I don't know how thought out it was, but they were presenting the archetype of what they considered the attractive man. The attractive man behaves like this. He talks like this. And he walks like this. And most importantly, what the attractive man was not you. You were not it. Fucking hell, you're not it.
Well, of course not. You wouldn't be paying a guy thousands of dollars on how to be more attractive if you already believed you were.
How easy would it be to just fall into the frame, like letting this hectic environment dictate to me how I should feel? If I looked around, I'd be stunned in my head, like, oh my God, people around, filming, oh my God. But it's like, no, dictate the fucking rhythm. Okay, don't fall into the little permission boy frame of looking around and being a slave to your emotions. Like, look at this. I feel nothing, being shoved, girls, guys, people screaming, kisses. I feel the same.
And so the self-help message had moved a little bit away from, just be confident in who you are, get to know yourself and put that out into the world. It was kind of being swapped out for be confident like we are being confident.
Why can't you look at me in the eyes? Why are you getting so nervous coming in? Look, you already ran out of things to say. Why are you laughing? You think it's going to help? Why are you quiet? Look,
So why was this happening? Well, I think in the beginning, there was an element where these people, these coaches, were starting to realize they had tapped into a very lucrative market. A market of very lonely men online who were desperate to find the love of their life, or failing that, getting laid.
Balls Deep. I'm sure most of you have already read it. It's one of my better sellers.
Now look, I am pleased to announce that in a few weeks' time, I will be running a Karma Lifestyles Day Game Bootcamp.
Put together a free training down below. You can check out my brand new MVB product. The link is in the description. Check that out.
I mean, I'm not being a dick, bruv, but just look at some of the people who are attending these courses. Clearly, they're just the nerdy kid. Probably they just wanted to literally meet a woman for the first time. Maybe even get married one day. day. But these bros, these like fucking salesmen, were kind of telling them that that's, you know, okay, getting married, but what about you become an alpha man that dates multiple women? You got loads of women, you know, women out the wazoo. Imagine you had so many women, you didn't know what to do with them. Where are my car keys? Fuck, it must be under one of these women. Jesus. You see, my friends, women are the prize. They are the Pokemon cards of life in which you collect. Not interesting, unique individuals that you learn about, and in turn you learn more about yourself with, you connect and you can trust each other and live together and have a beautiful life. No. My friends, women are an object in which you conquer.
In this video...
And it's not even just about the conquering of the woman. It's really seeking validation from other men by trying to say, look at how good I am with women.
Now look, I really want to make it very clear. It's very important to understand that not all of these online coaches and not all of these people were pushing that message. Not all of them. Some were offering very good advice. However, the online market was incentivizing a sort of gamification of dating. If they want to retain more customers for them to treat dating like it is a game, then you can kind of sell them shit. More shit, online courses, one-on-one coaching, boot camps, ebooks, e-boys, Elon Musk. What's going on, bros? Dates on Demand here. If you guys have been in field lately and you're not getting as many numbers, maybe your flake rate is going up a little bit, well, you're in luck, because today's video, I'm going to give you the 5 secrets to seduction.
Right,
See,
here we go.
Slowly, the advice of just be yourself, go say hello, just wasn't cutting it anymore. Yeah, you gotta neg her. Tell her she's all right for a blonde. You don't want to be a simp, right? What's that? You got feelings of affection to a woman? What are you, gay? Very quickly, a new culture had emerged, and it was called the red pill. To be honest, it wasn't new, it just sounded dramatic when I said that. The red pill and this sort of thinking had been around since it was legal to slap your wife. But the modern internet version of it kind of came around through a book called The Game in 2005, where a guy who had the fucking secrets to dating told men that they needed to wear big weird hats and do card tricks because that will make her love the real you. They presented dating like this puzzle, like a problem to be solved, like a mathematical, scientific game. They would offer advice which was pretty much anything other than genuine human expression and connection. And this style of content would go on to take over the internet.
It's reality. That's the axiomatic structure
If I was
of
a
the
woman,
entire perception
doing this
of man.
animal gymnastics. If I was a woman, dodging the lasers.
I hate women.
You see, the reason I focus on dating a lot is because I really do think that is the place that a lot of young lads start at when they enter this kind of self-help, self-improvement world. They just want to meet a woman. I really think that is at the core of lots of this. For me personally, I steered clear of like the RSD, the red pill sort of stuff. But I personally really did love the idea of meeting my future wife in a bookshop or a coffee shop. I know, little Romeo over here. Because in this period of time when you're sort of like late teenagers, early 20s, women is kind of all that matters to you. However, at some point, probably in your early 20s, you slowly are forced to think about other things than just women. Things like your career and how the fuck am I ever going to afford a house? And so as time went on, there became this fusion of different online communities. Online dating advice met online fitness and bodybuilding forums, as well as like finance gurus, all came together, had one big old orgy from which birthed the world of self-help / self-improvement.
Adonis started his self-improvement journey young. Years of good habits developed Adonis to be the kind of man that we would aspire to be. Because just look at him. He looks amazing. He feels amazing. His life is amazing. And it has all come from self-improvement.
Self-help / self-improvement really became a catch-all umbrella term for a growing...
Listen, the only step that needs to occur is you must first believe that you already are that person you want to be. What life has taught me is that you cannot have anything until you already believe that it belongs to you. For instance, you're not going to go into a gym, a basketball gym, and say to yourself, I'm ass, I'm trash, I miss all the time, I suck at shooting, and then proceed to drop 10 3-pointers in a game and clutch the game-winning shot. That never happened. You must first already believe that you're that guy for you to become that guy. The vision always comes before the actualization in physical reality. A building will never just manifest itself. You must already have the vision and believe that that building can be built. You must already see the end from the beginning, just as the Bible talks about God declaring the end from the beginning. If you believe that to receive a thing, you need to become this person first, you will never get that thing. I'm not talking about wishing upon a star or like law of attraction, woo woo, magic. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about believing in yourself. If you don't believe in yourself first, then it doesn't even matter what your goal is or all the various steps that you think you can do in order to attain that goal. It will always elude you. That is why there are people who work very hard and never attain the goal. People who go to the gym for years and never get the body that they really desire, because deep down they don't believe that's something they can actually attain. They don't really believe that that thing already belongs to them. That confidence, that certainty will put them in the right state of mind, where then they go to the gym with the right attitude, where they approach their dinner plates with the right attitude, and so do the things that need to be done in order to get what they want. But when they deep down they don't really believe, they don't go as hard in the gym as they should be. They don't eat the kind of food as they should be in order to get what they want. But yet, from their point of view, they are working hard. They are going to the gym. They are in this constant perpetual state of effort. And that's what happens to people. And the testimony of that is there are people who talk about being good looking conventionally by modern standards, and they suck with women. Or the dude who doesn't look like the conventional handsome guy, and he got the baddest chick in the class. You know what I'm saying? I knew a dude like that. Who, he was nothing about him. He was short, he was skinny, he was dark skinned, he had nappy hair, and those aren't things that people should view as bad, but that's just the way how society trained us to look at those kinds of people in the environment I grew up in. And so by the standards of society, he was supposedly unattractive, but he had one of the baddest girls in class. She was well fit. Her body was well fit, well curvy, pretty face, all of it. And she loved him. Like he used to treat her almost like she would be annoying him. You know what I'm saying? And I don't mean like in a toxic, like he was negging her kind of way. He just really felt, you could just tell this is a dude that thought he was that guy. And he pulled that girl. That's what I'm saying. He first already believed within himself that it's not a fake thing. It's like faith. It's real belief. Faith is the belief in that which has not yet been manifested or actualized in reality, right? It's the same thing. He really believed he was that guy. And so then he moved in accordance with that. It's just like nervous energy. The guy who's nervous, the guy who doesn't believe in himself, he's the dude dropping all his keys dropping on the ground. Oh, he knocking over the water. Oh, he's just all over the place. He's stuttering. Where is all of that coming from? Because that's not him 24/7. But he gets around this girl, all of a sudden this is coming out of nowhere. He doesn't believe in himself. And so he's really just fooling himself when he approaches her and saying, oh, well, it's all about reps. You miss every shot you don't take. Nah, it was over before it even started. Same thing with boxers. Same thing with fighting. See, guys, this is not magic. This is not woo-woo stuff. It really just comes down to what you believe. You believe you got demons? Demons gonna show up in your body, I promise you. You feel me? But we'll keep it pushing.
Subculture of people who are trying to just better themselves. And whilst it wasn't explicitly only young men, it really did appeal to lots of young men. Self-help moves beyond how to just meet a woman and becomes a new thing. How do we survive in this very changing world that's much different to the world my dad grew up in? And so the self-help movement became like introspective. It started teaching men a sort of more holistic approach to life, like better mental health practices. Talking about the benefits of journaling and meditation, better physical health like eating better, supplements, sleeping pattern, getting in the sauna, doing cold plunges. It built upon the original foundation of improving your confidence and bled into how to better yourself, how to be a better man to survive the real world.
Things have become way more expensive, but wages have been stagnant, which means that you and your family are probably struggling. And it just makes you so sad and agitated as an ambitious young man. You want to be able to provide and actually help your family. And so you have the desire to make more money. I think we all, as like a generation of young men, want to make more money. We want to be able to provide, but we're just kind of confused on how to do that.
Now, Gen Z entered the big boy world in 2010s. You know, they were finishing up uni, they were fresh faced, ready to take on the world. But you know, they kind of joined the game late. Everyone already had their hands, all the snacks were eaten. Post 2008 financial crash, the whole world went to shit. GDP growth stagnated, wages stagnated, and the cost of living and the cost of housing just started to go up and up. But you see, we had entered a new world, a world that was now intertwined with social media and smartphones. And so the self-help industry found a new frontier to help these struggling youngsters survive in this crumbling economy. But now with algorithms and punchy titles and retention strategies to help accelerate them. And it seemed to largely focus on young men. Whilst being completely specific, women's living standards are also going down. It might be improving from where it was, but the general trend, it's not looking good for all of us. And you see, whilst this was all happening, whilst vids were being liked and saved and shared around, slowly the decrepit dying head of the mainstream media eventually turned around and started to see what was going on. What is this? Things we don't understand? No, you don't. And so, the mainstream media proceeded to post an onslaught of articles to try and explain to us common folk this phenomena.
Well, folks, the left has decided that apparently being in shape and working out is a far-right thing.
Joe Rogan and Elon Musk call out MSNBC for suggesting being healthy and in shape is far-right.
Do you like going to the gym? Do you like lifting weights? Well, guess what? You're a far-right extremist, you pig.
What the fuck, bro? I'm not right-wing. I voted for Bernie Sanders. I just like to lift some weights. Look, something weird was happening here, but for us to truly analyze what was happening, we really needed a lot more nuance than what some of these articles were putting forward. And equally, some more nuance in how these articles were being interpreted by online commentators.
Lately, the trusted media like MSNBC has been enlightening us to the fact that fitness is a far-right phenomenon. So if you've been exercising, now you're caught red-handed, fascist.
Self-help is really a very nebulous term. It encapsulates lots of different groups that are quite separate. You know, you might have an individual who listens to Joe Rogan. They then take some health advice from Andrew Huberman whilst they go to bed with David Goggins shouting why they're worthless in their ears. That can be quite a different person than someone who listens to Andrew Tate, Fresh and Fit, and Sneeko, telling them that every single woman who doesn't wear a sundress all the time wants to steal their homes in which they will never be able to afford, of course. And not only that, she wants to cheat on you with a Bugatti, unless you are an alpha man.
Move forward. I'm a man.
Forward.
I am a man. I am a man. I am a man.
Now look, these are two examples of like different schools of thought who are offering advice to men, but from two very different perspectives. One is sort of haplessly saying work hard and eat supplements. The other is saying buy my shitcoin and maybe one day a girl will kiss you. And just imagine, right, you're this young 18-year-old with very little life experience, and you don't know what the fuck's going on. Everyone's shouting at you, do this, buy that. That can be quite a challenging world to navigate because, you know, we don't know what the fuck. And imagine this young lad, right, he's gone on his journey, he starts lifting weight, he feels good about himself, and then Joe Rogan starts whispering in his ear that the lamestream media are calling you a fascist. And so from here, something started to happen. MSNBC put out this article, which originally, they changed the title in the end, but originally, the far right's obsession with fitness is going digital. This article went viral on Twitter, got 55 million views, and some very well-known people responded to it. MSNBC thinks you're a Nazi if you work out. LaMayo said Elon Musk. Patrick David said, so is the opposite also correct? The far left's obsession with being fat and part of LGBTQ is going digital. And Joe Rogan chimed in, being healthy is far right. Holy fuck. Let's just delve into the article where it actually says a little bit. It reads, white supremacists' latest scheme to valorize violence and hypermasculinity has gone digital. In it, it talks about Hitler and Mein Kampf, how he was fixated on boxing and jiu-jitsu. And it's true, Hitler talked about the Obermensch, this perfect body of the most beautiful German man, with his strong muscles to protect the strong German men and women, obviously. And the article goes on to talk about how there have been documented cases of far-right groups using gyms and fitness as a means of recruiting people to the far right. And it also talks about how in fascist ideology, there is an obsession with the male body, with training, masculinity, testosterone, strength, competition.
Listen, where there's smoke, there is fire. Anybody who wants to say that working out or anything of that nature inherently it skews you to some political ideology, I think that's a ridiculous position to hold, right? Because everybody loves to exercise, or rather everybody's body, I believe, enjoys exercise and working out and being healthy. Who doesn't feel good once they've got some exercise in, right? But at the same time, I mean, when you do take a look at the red pill space, for instance, or if you take a listen to a lot of the guys on the right, as somebody who used to be like staunchly right wing as a fundamentalist religious person, which I no longer am. There you can see a pattern of importance of fitness and health. But even though I don't see myself as being far right, but I still love going to the gym. I went to the gym this morning. I still love being fit and in great shape. So there are truths on both sides. Yeah, it's ridiculous to just label working out as being right wing or far right, but it's also disingenuous to not acknowledge that there is a pattern. Now, correlation doesn't always equal causation, but there is something there. There is something there that a lot of people who think in those ways ideologically also push, hypermasculinity, going to the gym, all of these things, to a certain degree. It's there.
Being a strong warrior. The article concludes by saying, fitness is of course a staple and hobby for many people for whom it is enjoyable and rewarding for brain health and overall well-being. Now, really, I just want to be quite fair on the article here. It is specifically talking about a specific recruitment strategy of a specific group.
Right.
And all the things it said about fascism, etc. was all true, but the problem was this article was released in a period of time where there had been stories like the OK symbol is racist, maths is racist, milk is racist, air conditioning is sexist. And often, whilst there might have been, if you were to read the article or the study, there may have been some interesting nuance, something that was actually kind of interesting, contained within it.
The man accused of carrying out the shootings posted his racist views and announced what he was going to do on the web, a white power hand sign that's often used to troll or just upset liberals. Yes, I know it's a sign that we all use. It's the OK sign, but it's taken on another meaning on these forums.
Yeah, that's the thing, man. People pretend that these things aren't real. It is 1,000. So why are all these white supremacists throwing it up? But then if Elon Musk were to go and do it now, and the people were like, he's doing a white supremacist thing again, what would people say? Oh, it's just the OK sign. He's just saying everything's okay. You're reading too much into it, oh, the Roman salute. Oh, this. It's like, come on, man, really? How much copium are you smoking, my guy?
White nationalists used this sign in public time after time. The SPLC says this kind of wink and nudge interaction with the racist right is a direct route to its normalization. It serves as a white supremacist symbol, according to the writer Amanda Marcotte, one designed to be just ordinary enough looking that when liberals express outrage, white supremacists can then play the victim of liberal hysteria.
The media apparatus and the market incentive to get clicks led journalists and mainly the newspapers to push for more rage bait titles that they knew were going to piss off people. It was in their economic incentive for Joe Rogan, Elon Musk, and all these people to get pissed off by it, because at the end of the day, it means more eyes on their content.
MSNBC knows that people, the algorithm will respond to its tweet getting a lot of engagement, and engagement doesn't have to be positive. It doesn't have to be a bunch of people saying, "Oh, we love, great story, good reporting." People arguing in the comments makes it look like a lot of people are interacting with the post, which technically they are, although they are screaming at one another.
And so yeah, the right-wing reactionary circuit lapped this story up. Jim is now racist, apparently, bro. Any point that they might have been trying to make around the obsession with strength, genetic superiority, idolization of like hyper-masculine characteristics, all of that was just
no Romans.
Dismissed. It's a very interesting topic, and it's one I want to touch on.
Yeah, you saw that? How they were all throwing up the Heil Sieg or Sieg Heil or whatever they call that, the Nazi salute.
Because if you actually look at that original post, the Twitter post that went viral, and we scroll down a few comments, we will read a tweet with 3.3k likes, linking a study that says increasing someone's testosterone made Democrats turn into Republicans. And if we take a little step back and look at some of the other people that commented on this article, Joe Rogan, PBD, Zuby, and Elon Musk, well, I mean, they're not right-wingers, are they? Like, they all voted for Trump. We are quite aware of that. So we're gonna have to ask the fucking question, boys. Is going to the gym right-wing? I would say, as someone who, sort of softly affiliates in this world, there is definitely an overlap with gym goers, self-help, self-improvement type people, and right-wing politics. Not all of them. I'm saying not all of them. Nuance. And I think it's really helpful if we actually just look at that study, the study that guy linked, which says that more testosterone equals more right-wing. So firstly, we have to note this study was done in 2011. This was pre-Donald Trump, quite a different time politically, and it was done amongst 136 young men. That's quite a small sample size. What they found was that people who were staunch Democrats and staunch Republicans, no amount of testosterone you could pump in them could change their mind. But then you had this little group that were kind of like weakly affiliated. I'm kind of a Democrat, I'm kind of a Republican. These bros. They juiced them boys up with testosterone. They found that the Republicans, nothing changed. But then weak Democrats, when they got hit with that tea, they fucking started reading Mein Kampf. That's a joke. They became a little bit less inclined to say they were Democrat and actually felt a little bit warmer toward Republicans. Now, the paper was criticized for its very small sample size, and that the experiment wasn't run for a very long period of time, and that there was loads of potential confounding variables, things that might have influenced the results, which inside the paper they acknowledge. The paper also offers an explanation, such as that those people who were weak Democrat supporters, they may have secretly preferred the Republican Party anyway, but just kept it secret. This is a phenomena that we in Britain call the silent Tory. It's a well-known thing. People kind of feel embarrassed for saying, yeah, I'm a Tory. But despite what the study itself said, it didn't stop it from becoming a flag that people on the right would use to confirm this suspicion that all Democrats were low-T cucks and Republicans were alpha giga chads. And this reaction in and of itself is really interesting because what it tries to do is to boil politics and views down to a hormonal or a biological determinist perspective. That your inner chemistry, your genetics are what shapes the way you view the world. That Democrats are just...
that doesn't make sense. If you even just sit up and think about this logically for a second. Yeah, I think trying to boil down a person's political views down to just their testosterone levels is ridiculous. I have seen plenty of weak, skinny, incel, pasty, ashy, just, people on the right dudes who don't get any pussy, they're not strong in the gym. They don't exude confidence, but they like to troll on X. You know what I'm saying? And they're hyper right wing. And so this idea, I don't think those guys are surging with testosterone. I think political views are mostly informed by what you believe to be true. And what you believe to be true is most affected by what information you expose yourself to. And so for me, as I've just continue to read more and educate myself more about a vast variety of things, I have moved away from conservatism and, that kind of thinking. I'm in a much more moderate position at this point in my life. And that has just come by becoming more educated and reading more and understanding that, look, when you go to extremes, you're almost always doing the wrong thing, whether that be political points of views or anything else in life. And so if you find yourself on the hyper right or the hyper left, you're probably missing some information. If you receive that information, you would end up more in the middle. But it's hard to maintain power as a leader by appealing to the middle. It's a lot easier by gravitating towards one or another extreme. And so that's what we see these political parties do, and then people follow suit.
Weak, soft beta males and are upset because they're losing out to cool guy Republican.
It is a fact that blacks have a disproportionate amount of the violent crime in their community. Why do you think that is?
You said y'all don't f***ing understand statistics. How you speak on numbers?
Thanks for your time.
Oh dear, that sad soy boy doesn't want to give Kirk a platform, the dude with millions and millions of followers. That makes sense.
Yeah, it's an education problem. The black community is incredibly underserved when it comes to education. It's less than 2% of people in prisons have a college degree. That's the issue. Now, is it possible for anybody to attain and achieve anything regardless of their circumstances? I believe so. But let's not pretend that the white community got to where it's at because they just pulled themselves up by their bootstraps. I mean, they started off with hundreds of years of free labor by black people who they abused and treated like animals. Then they continued to, the white population in general received massive handouts from the government. Welfare was invented for white people. White people got millions of acres of free land essentially from the government in the Homestead Act. You know what I'm saying? Like they just got handout after handout after handout for hundreds of years. The best schools were built in their neighborhoods, and then black kids were forbidden from going there. And so you do that for hundreds of years, and then you turn around after black people received equal rights literally for the first time 60 years ago, and then say, why aren't you just like us? We've only been benefiting from like rape and murder and like pillaging and enslaving people and, oppressing people for hundreds and hundreds of years, and handouts and freebies from this government that was built up off of the backs of your ancestors who got nothing for it. We only got that for hundreds of years, and you guys got equal rights under the law for 60 years. Why are you guys lagging behind, you lazy idiots, you bums? That's the conservative white right. That's who they are. That's what they believe. That's who Charlie Kirk is. And so yeah, that's the reality of it, man. And look, at the end of the day, black people, we're not going to advance ourselves by giving guys like this the bird. You know what I mean? Ultimately, the power does reside within us, but don't allow yourself to be influenced by these narratives that these people like to paint, who are the product of handouts themselves.
Goes into this study and points out a few holes. The study itself showed that those people who were weak affiliated Democrats actually had the highest levels of testosterone by 19%. So despite having the highest testosterone, they were really shy and private about being Republicans. It also just sort of reiterates the fact that a pool of 136 people is very small.
Yeah.
And so it's a bit of an inconclusive study. It also went on to say that it's well understood and well studied that testosterone levels don't just cleanly map onto like stereotypical masculine traits. traits. Like, if you were given the most alpha giga chad on Earth and then the biggest soy on Earth, and you were told to guess what their T levels were, your guess would be as good as random. T doesn't inherently mean hypermasculine, giga chad, assertive. It doesn't. There's also studies that show being a hyper-aggressive, dominant man doesn't mean you will have high testosterone. And so effectively, this whole thing around testosterone levels just isn't what right-wingers want it to be. It's not a great predictor of strength and bravery and courage and stuff like that. But you see, to give the people who make that claim credit, testosterone levels aside, there have been studies that show that as men get more muscly, they become more right-wing. Dr. Michael Price did a study with 171 men. The results suggested that wealthier men who were more formidable physically are more likely to oppose redistribution of wealth, and they're more motivated to defend their own resources. And also that less wealthy men, who are also still physically formidable, don't seem more inclined to support redistribution either. Also, it talks about how there were previous studies that show that more muscular men tend to be more likely to support war. There's also a significant correlation between men who are more muscly and their belief that some social groups should dominate others. Dr. Price continues. He says that the standard conventionalism is that people are adapting their morality to their physical nature. What comes
100%.
first is that you're big and strong.
Yeah.
You find yourself in this big muscular body, and other people around you are then intimidated by you. And so you have status and tend to win. So
yeah, this is actually how things like male dominance over women, white supremacy, this is the path, the logical path that occurs to justify it. So for instance, if you study black history in America, something you learn is that white supremacy as a concept is something that took time to evolve in America. It didn't start off, slavery was not at first justified by the fact that these people were black. If anything, it was justified by the fact that these people weren't Christian. And as black African slaves started to become Christian, or their offspring started to become Christian, adopt into the American culture and the culture of their slave owners, then white people needed another justification besides the fact that they were not Christians for why they should be enslaved. And so after a while, as generations progress, what you have is you as a little white boy or white girl are born into a world where black people are subservient to you, where you have power and money and influence that aren't accessible to these people in this group. And so instead of analyzing the things that led up to there and realizing that, no, this is not a function of their blackness or my whiteness, because we can look throughout the history of the world and find black empires and black kings and, advanced black civilizations. We can also find white people who lived in poverty, who were enslaved to other white people. Being a slave and not being a slave has nothing to do with your skin color. All they saw what was right in front of them, and what they saw that was right in front of them were, we have power and we're white. You don't have power and you're black. Therefore, I have power because I'm white and you don't because you're black. You are inferior to me by nature. This is how the concept of white supremacy was born and grew over time and then became indoctrinated or ingrained in people to actually think that this is what it is. It's the same thing with how we get these concepts of, men are superior to women. Men are inherently stronger physically than women. This is just a biological thing. I don't think this is the universe trying to say one thing or another about, the value of men versus women. But it is just a fact of nature that men are physically stronger. Thus, we're capable of dominating, or are capable of physically dominating over them. And therefore, we come to the opinion that we deserve to dominate over you, that women should be subservient and submissive to men. And of course, that's something that goes back very far in human history. And as time has progressed and as we have evolved, we've moved away from that. Even today, you might consider yourself a conservative or a religious person, and so you hold on to this idea that women inherently are inferior to men and should be submissive or subservient to men. But in reality, you even probably still hold feminist views compared to the views of the men who actually wrote the book, where we see Lot, for instance, offering his daughters up to the men in place of the angels in the book of Genesis, for instance, in the Bible. You read that today and think that's ridiculous. The people who wrote that thought, yeah, because girls, your daughters are tools for bargaining. You could literally, in the law of Moses, you could literally sell your daughter as a sex slave in exchange for money. And so even today, the most right-wing conservative dude wouldn't subscribe to that, but that's the word of God right there, supposedly. The point I'm making is all of these ideas were established based off of faulty logic, which is, oh, because I'm bigger and stronger than you based on biology, thus I have a right to dominate over you. And then that gets ingrained in the ideologies of the people. Because I'm white and you're black, and everywhere I look, white people are in charge and black people aren't, black people are inferior to us. Oh, white people are, black people, they just become athletes and rappers and things of that nature. The white people, the white man, he becomes an engineer and the doctor and all of that. You don't go deeper and figure out why it is that things have panned out that way in this country. You just look at it today, take a snapshot and say, oh, so it must be because black people aren't as smart or aren't as driven or industrious or whatever, and all they can do is rap and shoot basketballs. And that's how these bad ideas get bred within societies. And the solution, education. That's it. Read a book. If you just read more books, all of these ideas would just fall away, and you'd realize that life is a lot more nuanced and all that.
So your brain will say, well, I like inequality because inequality suits me, it benefits me. And he also goes on to say that this phenomena isn't found in women, which is interesting because being a big, strong woman doesn't increase their status within our social hierarchy, whilst it does for men. So this implies that there is something very interesting that happens with men and power.
Anyone who doesn't know me knows I used to run a webcam studio. So I had 75 women working for me, and they were talking to guys online and taking money from all the Democrats and betas. We're sending them money, and the money went to me. This is how I first made big money. So 75 women underneath, and you had thousands of men underneath them giving them the money, which kind of went to me. So it was kind of like a weird dynamic.
I just slept with Karishma, and this must be her standard tactic with Indian guys because they're so beta. That she sleeps with them. The next day she dumps them. It puts her in a position of power from the get-go, doesn't it? If you look at a lion's pride, if there's 5 men and 5 women, that's not 5 happy couples. No, it's 1 lion with 5 girlfriends and 4 lions who don't get pussy unless they beat the best lion in the fight. That's how lions work. Girl is happy to share you. I'm telling you. No, I take that back. She may not be happy to share you, but she'll fucking do it. Why do you think people join the army? Why do you think the Romans fucking were walking in directions? Why do you think the Mongols destroyed Europe? For pussy.
Now you probably see where I'm going with this, right? A conservative, a traditional right-winger takes a look at the world and sees the outcomes of people's lives, their successes or their failures, as a direct result of their decisions and choices.
According to Pew Research, the net worth of white families in 2013 was $141,000. For black families, it was $11,000. Even less than the $19,000 it was in 2007. Given this disparity, how can you argue that racism is not a driving factor in income inequality?
Because it has nothing to do with race and everything to do with culture. And when you have a culture that doesn't...
This was very similar to me, right? This is exactly what happened to me. I didn't get into the gym until a bit later, but I was always sporty and healthy, and I followed the sort of self-improvement stuff. I worked very hard. I was obsessed with making a side hustle, a business. And those businesses, whilst they didn't succeed, they gave me lots of experience. Experience that landed me a job in marketing that was a degree-level job, whilst I didn't have a degree. And I was looking at some of my old friends who were just still smoking weed, doing nothing, and I was comparing them to glorious me, the self-made man who landed his mid-level job and renting a tiny flat with my mates. I was improving. And from there, right, I did all the side hustle stuff. I made a YouTube channel on the side. All of a sudden, a fucking video goes viral. Next thing I know, I'm a YouTuber. I'm a self-made fucking YouTuber, bruh. I'm living out the dream. I'm working for myself. I went to the gym. I put on a little bit of muscle. And I even met my now wife in a coffee shop. I did the thing I wanted to. I fucking did it. At that point in my life, I was the deepest believer in meritocracy. I won the self-improvement game. But then I started to notice something.
Because I started to realize that the reason I got success, ultimately, really comes down to the fact that my parents own their house. I didn't have to move out of the house until I was like 25. So my parents, and I didn't go to uni, my parents just allowed me to dick around for like 8 years. I was just allowed to, I told them like, I'm gonna make a clothing brand, I'm gonna make a vegan food stand. And they, you know, they didn't charge me rent, so I didn't have to get a full-time job, didn't have to pay rent. So I have so much more time to take opportunities.
Exactly.
And for me, it worked out. By the end of it,
you gotta work hard, says a dude who literally got sent to the best high schools, got sent to the best universities because he went to a great high school, because he was living in a suburb that his parents could afford. And it always just goes back, man. It always goes back. And again, I'm a personal believer that you should not allow your reality to, do not be a victim to your reality. Do not be a victim to your circumstances. You have the power to create the life that you want to live. But at the same time, to be born in wealth or privilege comparatively to somebody who is born in a much lower circumstance for whatever reason, and then and say it's their fault that they're not where you're at because they just didn't work hard enough, is a ridiculous position to hold. Yeah, can he get to where you are? Sure, but guess what? If he does, way more work was done to get from where he's starting to where you're at, to where you started to where you're at. You feel me?
Gone and done a lot of hard work, but the reason being I could do that is because I had all that extra free time that most people didn't fucking have. The reason my YouTube career popped off was because I got furloughed for 2 months as one of my videos went viral. So I had two months just to work on YouTube videos.
For all of the hard work and perhaps individual skills that I may or may not have, if I was literally born a few postcodes away to a different family with a different set of economic circumstances, where I might have ended up at a different school with a different type of friend group, there is a very good chance that all of the things that happened to me wouldn't have.
Social mobility exists at a very zoomed in scale. You know, 2 kids grew up next door to each other on the same street. If one of them like works really, really, really hard and like studies really, really hard, and the other one, you know, just like sits around smoking weed, like most chances this guy will end up richer than that guy. But if there's a kid like 10 minutes down in a nice neighborhood who's from a much richer family, that kid can sit around and smoke weed. You'll never catch him. You'll never catch him.
He'll end up in market.
What I mean is like
self-improvement.
I won't say never, because I do believe that anything is possible if you have the right mindset, but I get what he's saying. You know, you're to get to where Elon Musk's son is going to be at 30 financially, the gap, there's a lot more you got to do to make that happen, right? So that's basically what it is. But I would never encourage you to set limitations on yourself. Truly, the sky's the limit.
Not done very carefully with a very wide understanding of the reality of the world can often lead people to having a feeling of superiority, where you look at how well you do based on your decisions compared to everyone else. And that feeling of superiority, or even just that belief in meritocracy, can actually be more potent in people who do slip through the cracks and become successful from very poor backgrounds.
When they feel envious, because they want to level the playing field, which is all envy is. Instead of trying to elevate themselves, they try and drag others down. So when people look at my life and they're envious of me, what they should say is, he's truly...
Envy is just a result. I put this on Twitter or X today. Go ahead and follow me on X. I'll put the link in the description. I'll comment it. I'll pin it in a comment. Go follow your boy on X. I got fire tweets. I commented how jealousy is just a result of a lack of self-belief, because no one envies someone for something that they already have or believe that they can easily attain. Only people who get jealous are people who don't think that thing is accessible to them. And so they hate you for having it because they want it and they think they can't get it.
Truly from the most humble possible socioeconomic beginnings. He is a person of color from a council estate, a single mother household. He's at the bottom, and he made it up to the highest echelons. He's on the phone with Elon Musk and is a billionaire. If he can do it, I can do it.
Despite the fact that they are literally an exception to the rule, and that's why their story is interesting. Their story helps to reinforce the myth.
The reason why they're exceptions to the rule, by the way, is because most people allow their circumstances and their environment to dictate their reality and what they think they can attain. Most people look around them and see poverty and think, okay, so this is all that is available to me. They do not believe that they can escape their reality through confidence within themselves, hard work, all of these things. And so that's what their reality ends up being. But something you'll always find in common with these people who start at the bottom and get to the top is from a very early stage, there was just a point where they believed that they can do it. That is the very first step to accomplishing anything, especially anything of significance. They believe that the person who says he can and the person who says he can are both right, as they say. And so you must first believe that it is yours. As Jesus says in the Bible, pray that you will receive and believe that you've already received it, and it's pretty much yours. You know what I'm saying? So that's really what was going on right there, I believe.
That anyone from any background can make it in life. But we all know that, well, because one person in the millions of people who entered the lottery won, that doesn't mean that we can all win the lottery. It just is impossible. And so if you fail to factor in luck into a person's success, or even perhaps that person was incredible, they did have more willpower, more determination, perhaps they were above average, well, this can lead you down a dangerous path.
It's not good for you, and it's not good for them. No. There has to be a point at which dad comes home. And when dad gets home, you know what he says? You've been a bad girl. You've been a bad little girl, and you're getting a vigorous spanking right now.
I would say it is true that there is like an implicit risk for an individual who pursues self-improvement, where you can find yourself in a place where you see success as like the be-all and end-all of everything. That if a person is successful, they must just be the best person, right? Makes sense. But this is a slippery road because it can lead to a point where you admire power for the sake of power. Not how the power is used or wielded. Is it used to make the world better, but rather just that they are big and powerful and they are winners.
And I look at China and I look at Russia. Can we give a round of applause for Russia? Yes.
Interesting.
Absolutely.
I've definitely seen it through certain commentators and people online, where sometimes there's just this kind of like, I don't know, like hero worship, this like subservience to power that leads them to just following and admiring these like strongman personalities. I think Andrew Tate is a very clear example of that. If you really look into him, it's hard to admire the things that he's done with his power, but I think the admiration for him is really about his persona, his boldness, and his power. But like the reason for this attitude, it can come from a perspective of a view of the world that is completely trapped in a myth. This myth being that our world rewards the people who are the best.
Playing victim is it's an easy way out. Yeah, it's a laziness.
It's a laziness.
What it is we worship power. Power by definition is work over changing time. This is all physics. This is all science. You know what I'm saying? So let's look at this. A definition of work formula, right? Work is force multiplied by displacement. Displacement is a change in position. So for instance, I have a car key right here. It goes over here. It has been displaced this distance. However, let's say I move it here and then move it right back to here. The displacement is 0 because it's right where it started. It has traveled this total distance. So let's say this is 1 meter. The distance it's traveled is 2 meters, but the displacement is 0, right? And so force is, of course, defined as mass times acceleration. So that is the energy required to move this over here. That's the force. And then you multiply that by the amount that I've moved it, and you get work. To make it simplified, work, just think about what you do when you go to work. You're making shit happen, right? If you went to work all day And at the end of the day, when you clock out, shit is exactly the way it was when you walked in the door. Someone would say, what did you do all day? I thought you were working. Where is the evidence? And so that's the definition of work. Just think of work as getting shit done, right? Now let's look at the definition, the formula for power. See, it's so crazy how all this stuff, I was like, what's the application I'm going to have? I was a computer science major. What application is this going to have later in my life, going to physics classes in college before I dropped out and became a YouTuber, a successful YouTuber? You know, here it is. It's now being revealed, but I see how it applies not just to if you were to try and be an engineer, but just life in general. What I realize is people worship people who have a lot of power, and we're going to get into that. So what is power? Power is work over change in time. Change in time. That's what that means. Time elapsed. So, for instance, someone who gets a lot of work done, so let's say put 100 where we have the W, in a little bit of time, let's say in 1 minute, right? We'll use these numbers. That would equal a power of 100. 100 over 1 is 100. Now, let's say it took him, the power would be 100. Let's say it took him 100 minutes to do it, being consistent here. 100 over 100 is 1, meaning if it takes you a long time to get the same amount of work done, you have less power, right? Someone who has a lot of power can get a lot done comparatively in a short period of time. And as humans, we worship that which is powerful. This is why humans create religions worshiping an all-powerful God. The idea that he is able to create the entire universe in a period of 7 days. He's all powerful. That's what we worship. What we're really talking about is just the ability to get shit done. That which gets shit done. And God is the most get shit done entity in our, mind. And so when we see God reflected in humans, in people, in things that are powerful, things that we revere it. We have awe for it. It doesn't just stop at humans. It can, if an alien were to come and be powerful, even animals. That's why we look at beasts like lions and bears and eagles with a bit like almost an awe of reverence. They're sacred almost. The idea of killing a lion doesn't, that breaks your heart, needlessly killing a majestic beast compared to killing an ant or a rat or whatever. Why? Because this beast is powerful. It exerts its power over its environment and has authority, and the people fear it and revere it and respect it, right? And so it's the same thing with humans. That's why it's not a money thing necessarily. It's a power thing. That's what people revere, and people want to attain that. People want to be like Christ. People want to be like God. People want to be powerful. But most people do not understand how to become powerful within themselves. And so they look to external sources for power. And thus they turn to things like religion, but they also turn to idolizing humans who seem to have a lot of power. That's what's going on here. And so then people just listen and do whatever they tell them to do.
Easy way out. It's a good excuse.
Just like
Thousands
God.
have come before you.
That's
and they
how
did just
idol
fine. So
worship
quit your
happens.
complaining.
I saw working out as a way for me to build calluses on my mind. Do some things you do while you feel the way you feel, but no one's coming back to save your ass.
The Gym Bro podcast, right? Their message when it comes to like self-improvement and working hard, all this sort of stuff, their message is correct, but I would say it's incomplete. The fact that my entire generation will probably not buy a house doesn't come down to a lack of grind set, but it comes down to wage stagnation.
It comes down to a mindset, not a grind set.
Is being used as speculative.
That's why there are people who seemingly don't work very hard at all, and they can attain so much. And you could work your butt off every day and not make any progress. Because you have the wrong mindset.
for the rich. The cost of living soaring because of complicated geopolitics and other factors causing inflation. You sat right there, you have quite literally zero control over these very complicated systems. On an individual level, moaning about these systemic factors won't change anything. All you have control over is yourself. And in this dog-eat-dog world, you need to make yourself a warrior to survive.
You said something to me which I think is fascinating.
Okay.
About why young men are really getting into the gym.
Why
is that?
People want to be able to work hard and progress. People want to be able to work hard and progress. You know, you've read my book. People go, I was insane. You know, I worked fucking hard. And I wanted to make money and move up and move up and move up. But we've created this world where it doesn't work. Working hard in your job to get promotion, to make money, to buy a house, to have a family, it doesn't work. It doesn't work. So then people want to find an outlet. They want to find something where they can take this energy. You know, I'm getting older now, but you know what it's like to be in your 20s and you have that energy and you want to work and you want to make something, but it doesn't work. You put that energy into work, you put that into education, and you're not getting the outcomes because the outcomes are basically determined on who your dad was. But you go to the gym, you work fucking hard every day.
We can't say that either because we know people who were born into the worst situations. You see, if this is a hard and fast rule that the situation you were born into dictates your outcome in life, then we would never have any success stories. We would never have anomalies. What makes an anomaly? An anomaly is made by a person who believes that they can accomplish something that their environment is telling them that they shouldn't be able to accomplish. This is why wealthy people stay wealthy. They're born, especially if you're born into wealth, all they know is wealth. All they know is power. And so they think naturally, of course, I'm wealthy and powerful. This is why wealthy people can lose all their money and make it back. They just see money differently. They see the world they live in differently. They see themselves differently. They see themselves as somebody. They see money as something that's easy to do. It's like this YouTube thing. I've made a secret channel just for shits and giggles while I was away working in construction. I made an animation channel. Some of you have already found it. My voice is so recognizable that people were right away guessing who it was. But I did not promote it at all. I didn't promote it on any of my platforms. In fact, I'll show you. You know, it's not even like a big deal, something to hide or whatever. When I was working in construction, for instance, I made this channel. The Almanac. And it's not something, it was like an experiment. I made this channel talking about history, and then I started talking about animals. I never shouted it out. I made no social media for it. I did not make a single YouTube short. I did not make any TikToks. I did not do anything like that. People are always trying to talk to me. And just as an experiment, I made this animation channel. Literally did not promo it or anything, nothing, right? By my 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, my 5th video, I got a video with 52,000 views, right? Animation, 10-minute animation. I had the video before that, 15,000 views, right? 719 views. You can see here, these were made 7 months ago. Then I stopped doing it. I stopped working on it. And then I was like, oh, let me actually do it. And then I did it, and boom, bada boom, bada bang. If I wanted to, I know I could grow this into a 100,000 subscriber channel. What's the explanation, right? I mean, you can't call it luck at that point. By my 5th video, I got a video with 52,000 views. This is me. If you listen, opened your eye every day. It's me. I'm talking. Mother teaches you a little more. Prepare. Yeah. And so anyway, I don't know if I'll ever do anything with this channel, but it serves as evidence that it's not luck. I know what the fuck I'm doing. But the reason why I was able to do this is because I believed I can do it. Why? Because I've done it so many times already. You must first believe that you can get it done. If you don't, you won't get it done. You know what I'm saying? How many of you would love to make a YouTube channel by your 5th video getting 50,000 views with no shout outs, no collaborations? You didn't even make a TikTok. How many of you would love to be able to do that? To me, that's effort. It's the same with wealthy people, how they look at money. They could lose all their money and be a millionaire again by the end of the month because they just believe. And so reality proves it to them. But that's pretty much all we really need to discuss in this video. I enjoyed this video, very thought-provoking. We talked about a lot of interesting things. Well, you let me know in the comment section below what you think. How Self-Help is Radicalizing Young Men by Jimmy the Giant, huh? Go ahead and like this video, subscribe to my channel, and please go ahead and follow me on X. I already appreciate you for doing that. Thank you, man, and until next time, peace out.